Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome to Movies TV Mad and a warmer welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. And these are your dceu headlines today. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So here are today's DC headlines, and they're quite juicy. Andy and Barbara Muschietti on the status of Brave and the Bold. Remember the movie I told you was cancelled many months ago. Listen to this wording. When asked if the film was still in development, Barbara Muschietti responded, "The intention is yes, but we can't talk about it." Andy added, "We need to wait a few months before we can start talking about the project. I think I've already said too much." Now, we're going to talk about this very shortly. None of this statement has changed my mind that Andy Muschietti is and was never going to direct Brave and the Bold. I haven't changed my mind. The information that reached me several months ago, which led me to do that exclusive video on this very platform, that Brave and the Bold was cancelled. But a deeper question is, was there ever really a Brave and the Bold? It's also my relief that 3/4 of Gunn's original slate was bullshit, was lies to sell the DCU to the fans. Anyway, that's your first headline. Here's another one. Now we slide over to the subject of the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery that's becoming very, very, very slidey and toxic and negative as business things do. Because we now know that Paramount Blue Sky have had 3 offers rejected by Warner Brothers Discovery. What we didn't know, and we know today, is that David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount Blue Sky, offered David Zaslav a co-CEO position, a co-CEO position in the newly formed Paramount Blue Sky Warner Brothers Discovery. This is something that will send shockwaves to every Snyderverse fan and stan, because we know what happens if Zaslav is still in a position of power when Warner Brothers Discovery is sold. It means Snyder will not return. It probably means, hopefully not, that Gunn will remain as the co-CEO of DC Studios. But you would think, seeing how worthless and what a lack of value Gunn has given DC and DC Studios, that Zaslav would make the ruthless decision and put Gunn out of his misery. Don't bank on it, considering it was Zaslav who already put Gunn in that position. So David Ellison and Paramount Blue Sky, in desperation, offered Zaslav the co-CEO position if he sold Warner Brothers Discovery to Paramount Blue Sky. But that hasn't convinced the AT&T, formerly Warner Media, shareholders, the minority shareholders in the company, by the way, because they don't have enough respect for Zaslav to listen to his suggestions on who to sell to. Don't forget, just a few weeks or months ago, they reduced his bonuses. So he's thinking, yeah, I better persuade the board to take these offers. But the board members with all the shares are saying, no, we are about the money. We don't care what you get within the deal. We want the highest share price. And it's clear, actually, I'll read you something that's clear, that actually Paramount Blue Sky and David Ellison are not willing to go over a certain figure to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. So it's getting very protracted now and very interesting. Scoop. Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison is reluctant to overpay for his larger rival Warner Brothers Discovery, and the Hollywood mogul believes there are good reasons he probably won't have to go much over the $25 a share among them. He's got Donald Trump in his corner, who hates one potential suitor. At Comcast's Brian Roberts. Now, this is very, very interesting. So let me clean it up for you. Now, in matter of clarity, I don't like Donald Trump. I despise Donald Trump. If you love him and you voted for him, that's okay. I'm a good guy who says, let's agree to disagree. So stay on the channel, but I don't like Donald Trump. That's just my opinion. But Mr. President Trump is a businessman. He understands how business works. He don't give a shit that the guy at Comcast is his sworn enemy, that they don't like each other. Basically, let me explain how these things work, because the government will have to ratify whoever buys Warner Brothers Discovery. Trump isn't going to care if the company that's won the bidding is from someone he doesn't like. It's whoever gives this committee enough money. How do you think Zaslav pushed the merger so quickly? He feathered the right people's palms with enough silver and gold. It's the way of the world, everyone. So Mr. Ellison may believe, look, I'm Donald Trump's friend, so it's going to be easier for me to ratify this deal. But don't think Comcast are going anywhere because of that, because they understand how the world works. How do you think? Who do you think the AT&T and Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders what are they going to be convinced by? Oh, someone who happens to be Donald Trump's enemy, or the company who offers the most money. It's about money, everyone. Whoever offers these shareholders the share prices they're happy with, which can give them enough bang for their buck, they're going to accept the bid from. Now, I can exclusively reveal that Ted Sandros and Netflix were made an offer by David Zaslav to merge with Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, Ted Sandros has been asked on so many occasions about Netflix interest in buying Warner Brothers Discovery. And he's kind of been negative about the possibility of buying WB. But the truth is, despite the headline by the Hollywood Reporter yesterday and Daniel RPK going, thank God, anyway, forget that. I mean, it would be interesting to have a streamer owning a studio. How would that work? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it any better than Paramount Blue Sky owning it? Look, I don't know. The Snyder fans believe it's the best way forward for them to get the Snyderverse restored. I'm still not so sure, but if that's the case, I would want that, but I also want competent people running DC Studios, which isn't James Gunn, and Peter Safran. So it's very, very interesting. And also, basically, Netflix and Ted Sandros said, no, we don't want a merger. We are interested in buying the company, swallowing it up, but we do not want to be in partnership with David Zaslav. David Zaslav wanted that co-CEO title at Warner Brothers Discovery Netflix merger. But Ted Sandros and Netflix said, no fucking way. So that would make me prefer Netflix to swallow Warner Brothers Discovery whole. And a very, very interesting situation. And we'll see how it all progresses. And so we're no further forward, really, in seeing who's going to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. And there's one thing you should also understand about this situation is this, that Disney have been very, very quiet. Nobody's asked Bob Iger if he's interested in purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery. And that, my friends, is very, very interesting to me. Because Disney would absolutely be interested in purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery. Why wouldn't they? Listen, but the problem is for Disney, they may not have the funds at the moment that Netflix do, Paramount Blue Sky do, and also that Comcast do as well. So that might be holding them back. That's the only thing that makes them outsiders to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, a lot of people would not want this, and this is another company that I'd want Warner Brothers to steer clear of because of their politics, because of their obsession with identity politics. it will be a great opportunity for them to merge Marvel and DC. And, you know, there's so many applications in crossovers and all of that. And look, Warner Brothers is a huger company than the companies they bought. You know, like Pixar, like Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm's a marble, a little stone, a pebble compared to Warner Brothers Discovery. And even Fox was a smurf of a studio by the time that Disney got their hands on it. And let's not forget, you know, Iger fucked up that Fox deal because basically Comcast were going after Fox as well. And Comcast goes, all right, we'll stop challenging this deal as long as you let us have Sky TV. So in the end, Bob Iger's shareholders were not happy with Bob over that as well. So as you can see, I'm very knowledgeable about business, more knowledgeable than Daniel RPK and the other idiots on social media. I love film, I love TV, I love entertainment, but I'm a man of the world. I've been around, and I'm not here to take money off you, to take super chats off you. I'm not here to go viral. I'm here to speak my truth and have my fucking say. Someone asked me that question. I was doing a question and answer session yesterday at the end of yesterday's video, and I was very honest about that. I don't need to make money off of YouTube. I'm here to connect with other fans, and I'm here to speak my truth about DC, TV, and entertainment, because that's where my passions are. I'm self-expressive. I'm a creative myself on an amateur level. I own my own theatre. You know my background. At the end of the day, I'm not here to take advantage of you. I'm here to give you my opinion on DC and sometimes other entertainment news. So there's that. So as I say, it's a fascinating situation, but as I pre-warned you, this is business. This is not the summer transfer window in football or soccer, as you Americans call it, right? This is business, and business takes time. First of all, they've got to accept the bid. All the I's and all the T's have got to be crossed. That will take ages. And then the government have to ratify the deal. And already what I've read out to you, you can see the complications there as well. But as someone who's knowledgeable a little bit in business as well, how do I see this going at the moment? Well, this is very interesting because they're also talking about an aggressive takeover. It looks like Comcast may try and do an aggressive takeover, but even Paramount Blue Sky may look to take over this company aggressively, because as we've already read, David Ellison at Paramount Blue Sky is unwilling to pay over the $25 a share price. So that's very, very interesting as well. So at the moment, we see these companies vying for power for one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, you would think the way the media is selling this, that Paramount are favourites, and they do seem like they're aggressively going. They really, really want Warner Brothers Discovery. It's all about how badly the other companies want it, but do not discount Disney at this stage. Now, let's talk about Batman Brave and the Bold, or Brave and the Bold, right? Now, I've been dubious about this movie ever since it was announced, ever since Andy Muschietti was announced as directing it, because the announcement had very suspicious timing. As suspicious timing as those interviews that Gunn did with Boba Talks and Emergency Awesome. On the morning that WB Discovery announced they were selling the company. Very dubious. You can't fucking trust any of these fuckers. We already know that, don't we? So, Andy Muschietti was announced as the director of the Flash movie just before the release of the Flash movie. This was clearly to give hype for the Flash movie. It didn't work because nobody fucking went to see this movie. Because Ezra Miller and his antics sunk any chance this movie had. But it wasn't just that. The movie, the word of mouth for the movie was bad, yeah? People, you know, the influencers, the liars, the confidence men and women, the fucking con artists got an early screening and lied it was a great movie. James Gunn lied about the movie he rewrote and reshot. Of course he would. He was saying it's one of the best movies he's seen in the 10 years. You fucking liar, James. Simple as that. you lied. But you're used to lying. You've been lying to the fans for fucking years, haven't you, mate? Anyway, and so I never believed that Muschietti was actually directing this movie. I never really believed that this movie actually existed. But, as I said earlier, I gave you an exclusive video months ago that one of my sources, actually, more than one of my sources, told me that this movie never existed, but wasn't going to happen. So I did an exclusive video, which was called Brave and the Bold cancelled at DC Studios and at Warner Brothers Discovery. Nothing that's happened since has changed my mind, because the wording from the Muschiettis is very interesting. We can't talk about it at the moment. When asked if this movie is still in development, she said, what did she say? Let's read this again. This is very, actually, right, this is interesting. It's all about the wording, isn't it? So let's go back to this, right? So, yeah, she goes, the intention is yes, which is a very dubious response. The intention is yes. Not a mere yes, but the intention is yes. So, I don't believe this movie will happen. And even if it does happen, and I'm wrong about it not happening, Andy Muschietti isn't directing it. You are dealing with con artists and confidence men and liars. It's as simple as that. The DCU is finished. The DCU may be finished whether Zaslav has a co-CEO credit or not. But the future of DC rests depending on who actually buys it. And the bigger question is, can we trust any of these fucking people vying for power of WB? The reality is, the sad answer to that question is no. I'm not convinced there's a good suitor here for DC and WB. I'll speak to you again tomorrow.